Well, the first thing I always do when they come here and want to talk is I give a disclaimer. I'm not a professor, I'm not an entomologist, I'm not a chemist, I'm a farmer. And what I tell you is what I saw here. Very simple, a soap salesman came here. Came into my office and said, "Hi, I sell this kind of soap. It's an organic, biodegradable." I said, "Yeah, right, okay, I'll listen." At that time, he told me he was spraying his mango tree with this soap, and he told me I had to get some pictures. To make a long story short, when I was down in Miami, I swung by his house. I subsequently saw some pictures of it. I went by his house to take a look for myself in person. And he has an Irwin mango tree. In my business, a good rule of thumb is 2 trees that will get everything in the neighborhood that mangoes get are Hayden and Irwin. That's the 2. He had an Irwin tree that was absolutely loaded with mangoes. There was a great big limb broken on the ground from the weight of the mangoes. And throughout his neighborhood, there were other mango trees that had the crop that I would expect in a dooryard for the trees to be put on. But his tree was clean, his tree was loaded. So it got my attention. Now, when he had been here, he had given me a sample. And I had said, look, every salesman that comes here gives me a little 2-ounce sample and says, try this, let me know what you think of my product. Well, if you're selling fertilizer, give me a 100-pound bag. I'll give you a test. I had a budwood tree on the backside of my nursery that had absolutely every problem a mango can have in Florida. From mites 2 kinds, scale about 4 kinds, anthracnose, it had it. So I knew I was using a soap, and it was made from plant products, and it was biodegradable, but I'll try anything once. So I mixed up a quart in 25 gallons. Now the tank I mixed it in, I had used for years. I had put copper, sulfur, benlate, manzate, all kinds of chemicals that will cake in your tank, I have put through that tank. And I put it on agitate and the phone rang. So I ran and answered the phone. Maybe I was 2 minutes on the phone. Came back, climbed on the tractor, went down to that tree, pulled the trigger, and out came this blue-green chartreuse mess from the gun. It got my attention because the stuff is clear. There's no color to it. So I popped the lid on the tank, and all that accumulated crud in my tank was going out my gun. So when I come back to the nursery, I opened up the gun, and it was clean. Filters were clean, everything was clean. So not only had I just sprayed my tree with a product that was going to wash it, clean it up, I had cleaned up my tank and my gun and my hoses and my filters and everything else. So I sprayed it. That was a Sunday. I sprayed it the next Sunday. Now that's 2 sprays. And I'm just experimenting. I'm experimenting on a few trees that are around here that obviously had a problem. And of course, I wasn't paying that much attention until about Wednesday. Now that's been about 10 days. I went out to where the tree was, and I noticed that there was all kind of garbage on the underside of the limb of the tree. A black streak. Now what did I see on that Wednesday when I went out, started looking around 10 days after I'd sprayed twice? First thing I did was the scale on the leaves, underside in this case, I would slide off of that thumb, and if you do it right, look at them, and they're orange, they're live scale. If they're black, they're dyed. Now they don't advertise this as a scale aside. What did I find? I found very few live ones and a lot of dead ones, but they were still clinging to the tree. So I said, okay, I got 1 more spray to go for this test. I got another quart. I'll mix up another 50 gallons and I'll go around and spray, but I'm going to up the pressure on my gun and I'm going to do a little blasting. Well, the minute I hit the tree, the scale went flying. Of course, I was blasting some off, but the trees were so incredibly clean. I could find no mites. I could find no, oh God, just so many things that were on that tree I could not find. Moreover, trees that I had sprayed with it, the new growth, instead of being smallish or showing deficiencies such as zinc, are coming out larger. You know, they're coming out fuller, and the trees just look better in 2 weeks' time. It's almost as if, in some cases, either this product is giving off a wavelength in light, refractive light, reflective light, or an odor, or something that bugs don't like. For example, how would you account for the fact that if we in fact spray the guavas and the papayas with this product, and we do it on a regular basis, every 3 weeks to a month, maybe every 2 weeks, that we have very little, if any, of the worms, the maggots from Caribbean fruit fly or the papaya borer, we don't have them. Now, do we get some? Of course we do. Any thin-skinned fruit in Florida is going to have them, in South Florida. But the incidence of them is so markedly low, is so incredibly low. I was planting carambola seeds. This is the star fruit here by the thousands. And we were having terrible problems with damp off, or some kind of fungus would go through it, and there were various things we could use to control it to a degree. And one day we said, that's it, we're going to wash the trays in 100% in 100 to 1 solution. We're going to wash the seed, give them a little dunk in it. We're going to plant them, and then we're going to drench the top of the tray with this material. Then we're going to put them in the house. And for our control, we're not going to do anything to one tray and set it aside, 2 trays to be exact. And we'll see what happens. Somewhere I have the pictures, and I showed Ted, we had turf. We had such germination and such bigger seeds, you went tray after tray after tray. And then in the control, we had rot and death and poor germination. I don't know what to believe about the product anymore, but I tend to believe what my buddies are telling me. So I took enough of it and I sprayed the nursery down. This happened about 3 days before the night to be free. I didn't know a freeze was coming. I just assumed a freeze was coming, and sure enough, 3 days later they're telling us tonight you're going to have freezing temperature or about freezing. I never saw less than 31 degrees in my nursery. We are watering differently than the grove up there does and the grove down there does. They have the fertigation. They have the lines buried. They turn the pump on and you can't see that they've been watered, but they've been watered. In my case, we physically take the hose before a freeze and we water everything down. That whole night, we never saw less than 31. Now we've got damage all around us, and we sure as hell can't cover every plant with the watering down here and the watering down there. I invite you to stroll through the nursery and take a look for cold damage, knowing that we had 26 north of us, 25 south of us, but just take a look. Take a look. Do we have some damage? Oh, here and there, there's something that, looks a little peaked. But as far as loss of plants, we don't have it. Leaf loss, in some cases, yeah. Change of color from having suffered the cold, yeah. But death, limb dieback, or outright dead, we don't have it. There was a group here from Australia some time ago, and I was talking to them, and I said, they said, well, how do you feel about this product? I said, I'll tell you how I feel. I said, I flew for a number of years, and I feel like I was standing right there when Orville turned to Wilbur and said, let's build another one. It's the cat's out of the bag. The salesman's foot's in the door. Some way I can describe to you that this product is probably going to open up a whole world of study that we weren't aware of. Quit thinking spray. Quit thinking in how you used a very potent chemical. The gas it gave off, or the no entry period for going back in the field. It's persistent there. It's poisonous. It'll even get you if you get too much of it. Quit thinking those lines and start thinking wash. You're going to wash the plant. And if you have a big tree, it's going to require you to stop the tractor and get the trunk and the major limbs and under the leaves and the whole thing. It's going to take effort to get it to a point. You're going to use a lot of product on the initial application to get the tree. Once it's there, you just spray it like you would any other product. Now, I may spray more often than I used to, but I'm doing it for a lot less money with a lot less liability. So you weigh all factors. You weigh the fact that you know, one of our biggest problems right now, we got doves building nests in our trees. The doves are all over the place in our trees. Before we move a tree, we got to check, is a dove nesting in this one, you know, or is a bird of some kind nesting in that one. The birds are back, the squirrels are back, and we try to control them, but it's just changed our life. It's really changed our life. If you think back over the career you've had and the products that came here and how you had to dress and handle them and be so damn careful about mixing and getting it in your eye and everything else, I don't have that problem anymore. No, I don't have that problem anymore. Could I get away with using it exclusively? Probably not, but I'm sure as hell trying. When people will accept dirty, bug-eaten plants, then I'll do away with everything. But right now they won't. If you want to be competitive, your plant better be clean, it better be healthy, it better look good. If you've got competition, just get it bigger, better looking, greener. And that's what we try to do, with a minimum of chemicals. It's been a godsend. Do I recommend it? You bet I do.